All right, so good morning, everyone. Since it's 10 a.m., we can start our webinar right away. My name is Magdalena Daxenberger, and as marketing manager at DH Electronics, I'm responsible for our internal and external communication. Today, you will learn how you can create fast and easy HMI solutions for embedded processing by the help of STM32 MP1 based HMIs by DH Electronics and CGI Studio by Candera. Before we start with the presentation, I want to give you a quick overview of the agenda. So, first of all, David Abel, Head of Product Management at Candera, will tell you more about the company and the software CGI Studio. Also, he will show you how you can create a GUI for an HMI easily with CGI Studio. Afterwards, Stefan Gonzo, Product Manager for DHMI and hardware developer at DH Electronics, will give you an overview of DH, its products and services. Also, Stefan will highlight why DH decided to create their HMIs based on the STM32 MP1 from ST. After the company presentations, it is time for a showcase where you can see two different applications built with CGI Studio running on hardware by DH Electronics. After the conclusion, both speakers have prepared some frequently asked questions that they want to share with you before we then come to the Q&A session in the end. We are happy to welcome Søren and Kamel from ST for the Q&A part as well, who will be happy to answer your colleagues regarding STM32MP1 and who also brought another colleague to support them. So I will now hand over to David, who will start with the introduction of Candera.
Thanks, Magdalena. I'm David Aber, Head of Product Management at Candera. I will introduce Candera GmbH and show you our product CGI Studio and how easily you can create with Candera CGI Studio high-performing 2D and 3D HMI solutions for embedded devices. Candera is a company located in Austria with development offices in Austria and Japan. We also have sales and application offices around the world in all major tech locations. We are a leading HMI tool provider and development partner for worldwide customers. We support our customers with our product CGI Studio, which is a complete 2D and 3D toolchain for creating state-of-the-art HMI solutions. Moreover, we also provide software services, mainly focusing on HMI development and embedded software. As already said, our headquarters are located in Austria, with a second development location in Japan. You can also find us in the major tech hubs around the world, such in the United States, Germany, France, India, Singapore, China, South Korea, and Taiwan. As said, CGI Studio is our main product, a scalable and hardware-independent software platform for the creation of brilliant and customizable embedded HMI in 2D and state-of-the-art 3D. We cover the workflow from the designer over HMI creation to the embedded hardware platform in one toolchain. Our no-coding approach allows an easy learning experience for users and a fast HMI creation. Our focus is on openness of CGI Studio to allow an optimal integration in our customers' development environments, the ease of use to allow a fast user onboarding and excellent usability, and also to provide the best performance with our CGI Studio engine. So Candera CGI Studio allows you to easily create 2D and 3D HMIs without coding and integrated collaboration features. It comes with state-of-the-art 2D and 3D features like physical-based rendering, particle effects, or multi-frequency rendering. Moreover, the Candera graphics engine brings best-in-class runtime and memory performance to your hardware platform with integrated connectivity features. In addition to the design and performance capabilities of CGI Studio, it also supports an easy import of assets with a wide variety of file formats, such as GLTF, FBX, or Photoshop, and avoids inconvenient conversions by external tools with a direct import feature and the award-winning AI-assisted smart importer. With support for a wide range of embedded operating systems and hardware platforms, Ranging from lower-end MCUs to high-end SoCs, CGI Studio allows a scalable HMI creation within your product portfolio. The user onboarding is done easily with a wide range of samples, tutorials, and videos. Our support team is in addition offering on-site and remote trainings. As a commercial product, we offer, besides a free trial version of CGI Studio, a flexible and staged pricing model. Besides what you see is what you get and no coding HMI creation, the CGI Studio toolchain comes along with many useful development tools, such as the AI-based smart importer, Courier for data binding, the CGI Studio player for simulation, or the CGI analyzer and the asset tool. Optional useful features such as warping for head-up display creation and functional safety complete our toolchain. Our open software architecture allows customizing and modification of CGI Studio toolchain to your own needs. Candera CGI Studio HMIs can be found in many different applications, from automotive, industry to marine, motorbikes, or high-end white goods. Our strengths lie in the state-of-the-art and ambitious automotive sector, where CGI Studio is a leader in the market for automotive HMIs for years. Currently, 8 of the top 10 OEMs are using HMIs developed with CGI Studio. 6 of the top 10 Tier 1s provide infotainment system using CGI Studio. With more than 20 years of experience, we are one of the top companies to partner with, and with over 50 million vehicles worldwide are equipped with CGI Studio applications. Because of our 20-year-long experience in the ambitious automotive sector, we are serving now customers in many other markets with great satisfaction, as their demand for excellent HMI is growing massively. This goes from the industrial white goods, marine, commercial, and many more markets. CGI Studio provides, with its strong focus on an easy and performant toolchain, in combination with its design orientation, a perfect tool for creating brilliant HMIs for products in these markets. With its built-in features, it reduces time to market and enables even a scaling across complete product portfolios. You can profit from the partnership between Candera and DH Electronics by easily starting your HMI development with the excellent STM32MP1 based hardware and software and CGI Studio for the HMI development. So far about Candera and our products. Let's start with the hands-on part of CGI Studio. CGI Studio is designed to be an easy and fast development toolchain for HMI on embedded devices. In our sample, we will create a simple maintenance menu, for example, for a smart home or industrial device. We will start with the designer's Photoshop file, which we are using to create the HMI. So let's have a look at CGI Studio. The user starts with an empty solution and selects the smart importer for importing the Photoshop file of the HMI. After opening, you will see the preview of the imported Photoshop file at the top. The user can navigate through the layer structure of the file and can map, with the support of the smart importer's artificial intelligence, these graphics elements to fully functional CGI Studio HMI controls and set already major properties of these controls. This means that not only bitmaps are imported, but fully functional HMI elements such as buttons, sliders, radio buttons, and many more. After the user has finished the mapping in the HMI controls, he is going to configure their control properties. The smart importer supports layer preview, automatic layer merging, control property configuration, and also supports an easy re-import of design iterations and a multiple scene support. After the import of the file, a temporary scene is created in Scene Composer containing already the mapped and functional HMI controls. Moreover, transitions are also supported, for example, from prototyping tools like Sketch or AxureRP. From the temporary scene, the user is creating a scene for the solution. The temporary scene is also used to handle re-imports. For rendering, the rendering targets needs to be set with the scene camera. If you have a look into the scene, you see the Photoshop structure again with the mapped controls in it. As the radio button are in one group, they need to be configured with the group box control. so that in the HMI only one element of the group can be selected by the user. The position of the radio buttons and group needs to be adjusted to be correctly positioned after these modifications. This is easily done via the Properties panel on the lower right. Now let's configure the slider, as we want to have it linked to the text value below the slider. The user is first adopting the range of the value of the slider control from 40 to 80. Instead of 0 to 100, the slider in the value to the text value, we just drag and drop the forward value behavior to the slider, which needs to be set to the text value as target. So the value of the slider gets forwarded to the text value and are linked to each other. At the end, you see the updated value of the text getting set to 50. So at the top, we have 4 telltales. These are getting also configured via the Properties panel to be either active, inactive, or blinking. Moreover, they can easily link to data binding values. The state machine allows to manage the states of the solution. We want that our maintenance screen is loaded automatically on the startup, so we are setting the on-entry target to our maintenance scene. Before we are running our HMI the first time on the designer's computer in simulation mode, we are setting the focusable flag in the property panel for the controls to false, so that they are not highlighted when touched. Then we are starting the CGI Studio player, and you can see the HMI loading directly, and the HMI controls are forwarding behaviors as working as expected. So quickly you can create the maintenance screen. Some more words to the CGI Studio player. It allows not only running the HMI in simulation on the designer's PC, it also comes along with handy features such as integrated value generator for simulation in case of no data binding is yet available. You can also use the player to connect it to the hardware itself to have a remote interface for development and testing. Its open architecture allows you to easily adopt the player to your own needs. The last step is to create the HMI for the target hardware. Therefore, you just create the asset which needs to be copied to the target, for example via SFTP, and start it with the CGI Studio player. So far about Candera and CGI Studio. Now Stefan will present you DH Electronics and their products and services.
Thank you, David. Hello, from my side, I'm Stefan Gonzo. And for those who don't know DH Electronics already, I want to start with a brief company presentation. DH Electronics is a specialist for individual embedded solutions and mainly serves customers in the building and industrial automation industry. DH Electronics, we are serving the global market with around 40 employees and about 25 engineers. With more than 30 years of experience, we accompany customers from the idea until the finished product. A value-based cooperation with partners and customers is close to our heart. Moreover, innovation is our passion, and we've been awarded as one of the most innovative SMEs in Germany in 2021 and 2019. We add special value to embedded projects since we offer standard and customized solutions from one hand, guarantee long-time availability, and enable a short time to market. Apart from that, we contribute to the open source community and we offer great support. At the moment, we focus on embedded systems for IoT applications and started research in the area of artificial intelligence and autonomous systems. Within today's webinar, our focus lies on the HMI solutions, but don't hesitate to contact us if you need further information to the other product families as well. So on this slide, we will see our product portfolio. It contains 3 product families: pluggable and solderable SOMs on the left, based on the STM32MP1. In the middle, we can see human-machine interfaces, and on the right-hand side, IoT gateways. Apart from the hardware, we also offer a range of services, such as software development, testing, production, logistics, and after-sales. In addition to that, we offer trainings and workshops for our partners and customers as well. Our digital heroes at DH Electronics provide support from the idea to the finished product, and take care of hardware and software development, as well as lifecycle management. We also work closely with our long-standing sales and technology partners from the DH ecosystem. Hardware development is one of our core competencies, alongside software development. From the first idea to the layout to the first prototype, testing, as well as execution of certifications, we take all steps on the way to functional hardware. In addition, we take care of preparation of parts lists, component procurement, and supplier management. The production of series products take place in Germany, and we guarantee a long-time availability of 10 years or more for all our products, and take care of the lifecycle management accordingly. We have specialized in Linux, Yocto, and Debian-based, and developed a passion for open source. We also do research in the area of artificial intelligence, as I already mentioned. Besides the development of the BS board support packages, we also deal with user interface design and cloud computing. And here we also work closely with partners from the DH ecosystem. Even after the start of series production of the product itself developed by us, we take care of the support and maintenance of software and hardware. In the course of after-sales services and lifecycle management, we ensure that products meet the guaranteed long-time availability of 10 years. Our goal is to relieve the product managers on the customer side of work and to provide security. Now, we've talked about DH Electronics and our product portfolio, but now let's have a look on our HMI solution in detail. On this page, we will find more information about it. Within the background of more than 30 years of experience in HMI designs, we developed a modular system. The core of our modular system is based on our interchangeable DH-COM family set. Depending on the required performance and features, the customer can choose out a variety of different DH-COM modules. Our PKITX board is used to connect the DH-COM and also support interfaces as USB, Ethernet, CAN, and serial bus. Because of this setup, DH Electronic is possible to support the customer with full access on hard and also software for the whole system. Besides the interchangeable CPU and the full access on hardware and software features, the big advantage of our modular system is the fast and easy way to adapt this setup. For a new display, we just have to adapt the special interface board. With this modular system, we can easily create a new design for a customer-specific display, and we can react to obsolescence situations on the display market, a point which grows more and more important nowadays. With our system, the customer does not need a complete new design. We just adapt the display interface board to the new display, and the production can start. Let's have a look on the DH-COM STM32MP1. What are the advantages of using a SOM? So there will be is a bunch of reasons. I will just highlight a few of them. At first, you're using an already field-tested solution, which is already in use in a bunch of projects in the industrial environment. Another reason is because of the design, the risks at a new design are low and the time to market is very fast. The complexity of a CPU design is already done by a system on module. And finally, our DHCOM SOMs are sharing a family design, which means they are interchangeable. This means when a customer designs today, fulfills the hardware and software requirements, and in a few years, the customer realizes that he wants to increase the performance because of the SOM is maybe not powerful enough anymore. In that case, it is possible to pick, for instance, the maybe upcoming STM32MP2 and populate the existing board with the new and more powerful DHCOM module. And therefore, you can increase the capabilities of a product without an expensive redesign. So now let's have a look in detail on the STM32MP1. What are the big advantages of this CPU? The big advantages, in our opinion, are the industrial qualification, combining the allowed junction temperature, which rises from -40 degrees up to 125 degrees. The CPU performance with the option to choose between single and dual core is also very helpful in nowadays industrial market situations. Another big point for the STM32MP1 is the long time availability, which is with more than 10 years. Also, a big advantage is the Cortex M4 coprocessor, which easily can be accessed and used for real-time operations. And another feature which is getting more and more important also for industrial features are the security features which are supported from the STM32MP1. So let's have a look on the STM32MP1 based SOMs from DH Electronics. So here we can see both of our system on modules. On the left side, you see the DH core. On the right side, you see the DHCOM module. If you're seeing this slide, you might wonder, why are we offering the same SoC in two different form factors? On the left-hand side, you can see that we decided to make all of the pins of the SoC available on our DHCOM module. On the DHCOM module, we have a dedicated pinout on every single module of our DHCOM series. Therefore, you can access every pin and all the features of the system on chip itself. On the other side, you can see we have a family feature set. And this means we have a compatible module. We have the same pinning on all of our DHCOM modules, and therefore they're interchangeable. But when talking about such a family concept, you sometimes can't make use of all of the features of the system on chip. We are losing some of these features of the SoC because of the family concept. So it's a trade-off between interchangeability and functionality. To sum it up, we think the DHCOM is quite interesting when it comes to flexible and to low and mid quantities. If the customer is really needing the smallest design and wants to have an automated manufacturing part, we think the DH core is the more suitable application here. But the two designs have one thing in common, the CPU itself, the STM32MP1. And this processor is a perfect match for HMI's applications. With the power of up to 2 Cortex A7 cores with up to 800 MHz, 1 Cortex M4 microcontroller, and a 3D GPU and a graphics accelerator, the CPU is perfectly designed for HMI solutions in the industrial environment. Okay, on the next slide, we will see the topic software. Let's summarize it. Let's start with the operating system Linux. We provide one Linux board support package for the DH-SOM family. We support Yocto project and also Debian-based systems. Besides this, we are always using the well-known bootloader U-boot for our systems. The software maintenance for the Linux PSP for our boards is done by DH Electronics. If we have to do some customer-specific stuff for you or for the customer, we are using our support budgets to handle these tasks. For us, it is very important that we work on a long-term partnership with all our customers. That's the key for success for both of us, our partners and DH Electronics. As we will see on the demo from Candera later, we have two hardware platforms available for fast and easy designs. For prototyping and getting started, we recommend the MakerBoard Avenger 96 with a 7-inch display. The Avenger 96 is the perfect match for getting started with the STM32MP1. All features of the CPU are available on this board. The schematic of this board and much more documentation is available for download. And with this product, you can easily do the first steps with the processor of STM microelectronics. The second platform is one of our STM32MP1 based DHMIs. This DHMI, based on our modular system, is ready to be integrated in the real environment of the application. If you have started prototyping with the Avenger 96 board, you can easily switch to our HMI. Both designs are based on the STM32MP1. The migration is done very easy. The resilient and compact design of the 10-inch DHMI is made for industrial environments. No active cooling systems or heat sinks are needed, thanks to the 5-cent cooling solution from DH Electronics. The capacitive touch interface also allows the usage with mid-reel close, even in damp conditions. The certification for industrial and home environment is already done, so the customer is ready to start immediately. The Avenger 96 board is available under arrow.com, and if you are looking for the DHMI, just write a mail to info@DH Electronics. The price is around about 600 euro if you buy it one piece. So, what are the advantages of the partnership between ST Microelectronics, Candera, and DH Electronics? One point is the scalability. With the single or dual core CPU in different configurations, RAM size is changeable, memory size, the security features, and much more, we can meet a broad range of application requirements. Additionally, with the DHCOM family set, we are ready to use upcoming STM32MP1-3 or MP2 already. Also, the CGI Studio is scalable across different hardware platforms. You can choose between 2D up to 3D systems depending on the hardware. Another big point is the flexibility. The used sum can be changed depending on your requirements. Then we can provide a customer-specific adaptation of the HMI. Then we can provide a customer-specific design of the HMI if needed. And another point is the speed and simplicity. No project starts without a budget. The project success is decided by how well the project costs can be handled in the project itself. With the modular design, the scalability of the CPU, and the flexibility, the price can be fitted on the customer-specific requirements. The customer just pays what he needs. So now I will hand over to David again, and he will start with the live demos.
Thanks, Stefan. So now let's see demos of DH Electronics hardware together with Candera CGI Studio on STM32MP1 hardware. Let's start with the HMI we have created earlier. After downloading the HMI solution to the target, for example via SFTP, you can start the CGI Studio player with the HMI solution on the target. The HMI is loaded and shown on the screen. As you see, the just created solution is running on the DHMI 10 and the HMI controls are working as designed. Now let's look at the 3D capabilities of CGI Studio. The possibility to create 3D scenes easily in CGI Studio and the support of state-of-the-art features such as physical-based rendering or multi-frequency rendering allows you to facilitate 3D features for your next HMI. In the video, you see a coffee cup in CGI Studio of a coffee machine demo. You see the light source and the camera. You can select 3D items and change its properties. In combination with animation, you can easily enrich your HMI with 3D elements to improve the user experience. Let's have a look at the coffee machine demo. You see the animated 3D model of the coffee cup, some coffee machine controls, and once you start the coffee making process, the animation is running until the cup is finished and placed on the saucer. Development in CGI Studio without design efforts for the bitmap and 3D model was around only half an hour. Moreover, it is rendered in real time with minimum 25 frames a second. Think also about the possibility of such real-time rendering, as you can, besides a good coffee, massively increase the user experience. For example, showing rendering of maintenance of the coffee machine and create an immersive user interface. It was never so easy to create 3D HMIs as it is with CGI Studio and run it on STM32-based hardware from DH Electronics. This more complex 3D demo shows a robotic arm. This could be, for example, directly attached to the robotic arm for maintenance purposes. The 3D model can be modified directly on the touchscreen to change the arm position. You can even save the data points and run an animation between these data points. The effort for this solution with the 3D models and bitmaps was a bit more than half a working day, as there are 3D modeling interactions in the demo. Overall, you can say that creating the graphics, such as bitmaps, UI concepts, and 3D models, is more effort than realizing the HMI in CGI Studio. This even allows to implement and test more design iterations, even on target. So, CGI Studio is creating additional space for your designers' creativity to create, at the end, a better user interface and experience for your customers. So far about CGI Studio running on DH Electronics STM32 MP1 hardware. Now Stefan will take over again.
Thank you, David. Now we come to our conclusion concerning the partnership of DH Electronics, ST Microelectronics, and Candera. There are 4 reasons why DH Electronics, Candera, and ST are the perfect match for embedded processing. When we have a look on the hardware, based on the modular hardware design, from the modular HMI design down to the different configuration options of the CPU from ST, the STAUth partnership gives customers the possibility to get a fitting design for his requirements. If we now have a look on the resources topic, we can see that every customer can benefit in 2 ways. Number 1, with a Candera DH design, the customer does not need have to invest as much time in the development as he would have to if he starts from the scratch. Buzzword: development costs. Number 2, concerning resources, because of the efficient way the CGI framework runs on the CPU from ST, there are more CPU resources free to use for other application processes. Another big point why the partnership of ST, Candera, and DH Electronics perfectly fits for embedded processing is the topic open source. ST, Candera, and DH Electronics take part in the open source community to help to keep their systems easy, up to date, and secure. Now let's have a look on Candera and DH in detail. Both companies have been awarded for their innovative products and services. So those 2 as partners stand for improvement and progress. These are 4 good reasons why the partnership of ST, Candera, and DH Electronics really is a fit for embedded processing. As I already mentioned, customers can reduce time in the development process. They can reduce the cost of resources and have a good system. So that's it from my side. Now we come to the frequently asked questions. David, it's your turn again.
Yes, thank you, Stefan. Then, before Stefan already said before we are going into the Q&A, I will take care about frequently asked questions, as these are typically not coming up, and not covered in the hands-on part before. Let's start with the first question. About data binding. How is data binding done in CGI Studio? Data binding is done quite easily in CGI Studio, as it offers separate messaging framework called Courier. So you can integrate your data bindings such as GPOs, sensors, web services, and many more. But it's split into two parts, the designers, CGI Studio part, and the embedded engineer data binding part. It's easy to connect the HMI to data bindings. How does this work in detail? In CGI Studio, the designer only loads a data binding description, which is XML based. This data binding description is loading the data bindings, which can be easily bind to HMI controls or used in behaviors without any coding. The embedded software engineer working on the platform was defining these data bindings description for CGI Studio Designer, and also is using this data binding description with a code generator to generate code, which needs to be completed to connect the GPOs, web services, or sensors. The completed code is used by the CGI Studio player, which is loading the asset, and uses the data binding code, which was just created, to connect the HMI with the actual data bindings. So, next question is, what data types are supported? So CGI Studio supports a wide range of data types to create your HMI, from the award-winning Smart Importer, which supports, for example, Adobe Photoshop, Acura P, and Sketch, to import of 3D assets with GLTF and FBX over many types of 2D assets and fonts. The open software architecture allows to create custom plugins for your own formats. What's about internationalization and localization? CGI Studio supports directly the internationalization and localization of your HMI solution. The solution can be directly translated within CGI Studio, but can also be exported and imported for external translation services. It also supports left to right and right to left, and a live preview of the current selected culture is available. The highly flexible font engine supports multiple font families for specific cultures and characters. Moreover, you are able to select from several integrated font engines to select the best for your HMI. Can you create custom controls without coding? Yes, CGI Studio is designed to be a no-coding tool. You can create your own custom controls by just using CGI Studio. You can also take one of our default controls to see how they are built up and adopt them to create your own custom controls. This allows designers to create their custom controls without the need of software engineers. Nevertheless, CGI Studio is bundled with a huge set of default controls and behaviors, from touch and non-touch controls, logic and data processing, layouting, and even augmented reality and 3D effects. What's about team sizes? How flexible is CGI Studio? CGI Studio is designed to be able to be used from only one designer to create an HMI up to hundreds of designers. Therefore, built-in collaboration features, for example, SPN support, variant handling, and support of shared libraries for controls and assets are directly integrated. Moreover, CGI Studio is also scaling well from low-end MCUs with native graphics cores up to high-end SoCs with OpenGL. This means that you can use CGI Studio across your product portfolio and reuse a lot of already created HMI elements. CGI Studio also runs on different operating systems and even without. What's about performance? We at Candera have developed our highly optimized embedded graphics engine, which offers best-in-class performance on OpenGL-based and native graphic cores. Moreover, CGI Studio is equipped with useful performance-oriented tools to get the maximum out of your platform and can also be customized. In addition to these performance aspects, we also offer with state-of-the-art features such as physical-based rendering, multi-frequency rendering, or particle effects. Now, back to Stefan.
Thank you, David. Also, we have common frequently asked questions. and we've prepared some of them. One of those questions is it possible to use different CPU configurations in the DHMI? On the one hand, you can choose out of different configurations of the CPU itself. The options are single or dual core, with or without security features, memory sizes, and much more. So on the screen, you can see one CPU and the different configurations which are typically at the edge available, but we are also or have the possibility to adapt the customer specific configuration as well. On the other hand, based on the DHComp family feature set, you also can choose the CPU itself out of a variety of existing modules from the edge electronics. As I already mentioned, for example, if your application today is totally fine with the STM32MP1, but maybe in 5 years you need more performance because of additional requirements, you easily can upgrade to your system to the maybe coming STM32MP1, for instance, and you don't need a redesign for your hardware. The next question, which is often asked, is it possible to get an individual HMI solution with the fitting design for the customer? If the configuration of different CPU options or even different CPU types does not fit your requirements, we easily can do a fast adaptation out of our modular DHComp family concept. If even this does not fit to the requirements of the customer, we are also able to do a complete customer specific design as well. Daily business for the edge electronics. And the next question is, how is the DHComp programmed? The DHComp can be programmed at the edge electronics or, if needed, also at the customer. We have Ethernet, USB, we have different interfaces which can be used to update or program the DHComp module itself. For information, the bootloader U-boot is always on board the DHComp, and you can do the update on your own if you want to. And the last question, which is often asked, is who is responsible for the board support package, and is it kept up to date? The edge electronics is responsible for the software maintenance, and we keep it up to date. Okay, then I'm finished with the frequently asked questions, and we will go over to still open questions.
Yes, thank you, David. Thank you, Stefan, for the presentations. It is now time for the Q&A session. Please feel free to unmute so I can give everyone the allowance to unmute, or just write your questions into the chat. And also please remember that Søren, Kamal, and Akram from ST are also here to answer more detailed questions regarding the MPU. So are there any questions at the moment? Seems like no one took the chance to unmute. Yeah, if you have any question, please feel free to put them in the chat as well. So we will give you one last chance to drop your questions into the chat. And yeah, I want to take the time to say thanks to our presenters in the meantime. And even if you don't have questions now, of course, you can directly contact David from Candera, Stefan from DH Electronics, or even the team from ST Microelectronics. And also you can meet all of us at Embedded World Conference as well. So now I can see that we have one question. I'm going to read it out loud. So there was stated that CGI Studio also provides a functional safety rendering path. Would this be software rendering to be completely separate? I'm pretty sure that David is the right one to answer that question.
Thanks. So functional safety in CGI Studio. Yes, that's right. We have in our engine a functional part which is rendering separately some areas which might be required. Think about a car, for example. You need to have some areas rendered in a kind of functional safety mode. For example, if you have an automatic gearbox, which gear is currently on, if it is reverse or drive one or stuff like that. So this could be then rendered separately, shown on the screen to ensure the safety of the driver and the HMI, that it functions, that it works as expected. I hope this is answering the question.
Thank you, David. All right, so one took the chance to put a question into the chat. Maybe someone else wants to follow. Yes, I think the question was maybe not completely answered. The second part is, but is it still done via the OpenGL GPU? David, could you go a little more into detail?
Yes, here we are very flexible. So we have our, let's say, certified functional safety part in our engine. It's up to the hardware platform what you want to take. So it doesn't depend on OpenGL. It's up to, let's say, the system design to fulfill the specifications. So here, yeah, it's up to you to decide what you want, and we can offer it.
All right. So questioning goes on. How do you ensure freedom from interference? I'm not sure if this is still a question for David.
I'm also not sure. Can you please be more detailed about the question?
Yeah, I think Paul sent us three questions, one after each other, and I think he referred to the answer you just gave. I'm not sure if you can see the question. Not really,
No,
I guess.
unfortunately not.
Let me check how I can do that. Maybe if I put it in here. Paul, I tried to unmute your microphone, so maybe you can clarify in more detail what your question was referring to.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
So I wanted to ask, in an HMI which has regular graphics and functional safety graphics, you render them together with in something that's designed with CGI Studio, and then I would like that the safety graphics be rendered with the functional safety approved rendering pipeline, right? If inside the engine renders both through the same somehow I don't know, backend, right? Then what makes the functional safety path safe? And I mean, I was kind of hoping that if I deem something to be safety relevant, then you would maybe render it completely separate.
Yes, so we have the certified engine. So basically the engine is extended to allow this functional safety that we have separate rendering paths. We have some customers working on it. Unfortunately, I'm not the expert for functional safety. So I would suggest that you are contacting me either via LinkedIn or our homepage, or I think my email address is anywhere in the slides. I'm not sure about it, or just CGI Studio at Candera.eu. I will then clarify with our internal safety engineers, and we'll try to answer your question. But basically, it's a separate rendering thread, which is basically writing on a separate area on the screen, and to ensure this, let's say, that there are no interference with other aspects. So this is a separate rendering path, separate rendering engine, or not separate engine, but a functional path. And yeah, we're fulfilling the ISO 26262, I think, or what is it? Yeah, I think you know it. And yeah, please write me an email, then we can clarify it outside of this webinar, and you get more details and also some presentations if you want to.
All right. Thank you, Paul, for the question, and thanks, David, for answering it. I can see there is one other question, which is how easy is it to switch between OpenGL-based platforms? Thank you very much. And this is for David as well.
Yes. So CGI Studio is designed to scale across product platforms. So this means that you have some SOCs, for example, open using OpenGL, but you have then, let's say, some MCUs having a native graphics core. So in that case, we can support with CGI Studio both easily. So you don't need to convert it even. So our engine is running on these platforms and then going via the interfaces, either OpenGL or these native graphics cores or native graphics interfaces to the hardware. If something is not supported, think about really lower end MCUs that rotation is, for example, not integrated or some other operations, then for sure this is not possible that all objects can be used there as well. So CGI Studio takes care about it, knows about the target platform, and tells even the designer that, for example, rotation is not possible on this platform, what you have selected. But you can build up your controls. The controls itself are independent, or the whole HMI is independent from the hardware. Just once you add the hardware information that there are some limitations, CGI Studio will have an effect. So you can create the controls for all kinds of platforms, from low-end MCUs to the high-end SoCs. They all work the same. For sure, it could be that if you have very complex controls, with some blending blending effects, and probably shaders in it, they might not work on MCUs, clear. But you can easily create, let's say, your assets initially, and then roll it out to your platforms. Probably you need some modifications if you go lower performance, if you start with OpenGL. But on the other hand, it's up to you. And if you make this process clearly or define it, you can easily scale across the platform. So we have many customers working with MCUs and SoCs with OpenGL, and scale typically up. So up is easy, down is a little bit harder as you're reducing functionality. I hope this is answering the question.
Yes, thank you. So it seems like everything is clear.
I also see another question here, switch between OpenGL platforms. This is actually the easiest part, as OpenGL, our engine is using the OpenGL interface. So the asset itself is independent from any interface. The player knows the interface and basically loads the asset. So between OpenGL is absolutely easy. There is no issue where there are any problems. You just take the asset, copy it, and even the asset is itself hardware independent. So the generated file in CGI Studio, which goes down to the target, is independent from the platform. So this could be interchanged easily. Easy for OpenGL platforms. As said, if you go down for MCUs, it's a bit harder. And the player itself is designed for the hardware. So the player needs to be built for a specific operating system, driver interface, or SoC, whatever is there. Even in case you don't have any operating system, this would also work. So here the player needs to be modified on the target. But once the player is ported for the target, it's an easy task.
All right, great. So I can see no more questions. If there are any more questions, please, as mentioned before, feel free to contact David and Stefan, and also Carmel or Søren, or even Akram from ST. And if you have time and the possibility to come to Nuremberg from 21st to 23rd of June, please feel free to check out our booth. Yeah, all of the three companies will have great demos as well. And if you want to, you can see the hardware setup and the demo setup that we have shown today live in Nuremberg. So thank you everyone for joining, and have a nice day.